I'm not really sure why I'm filming this video, because it's pointless, because everything always remains the same. But alas, yet again, yet another big mass shooting. Oh, 2 in a single day. We had one in El Paso and in Dayton, Ohio. And isn't that just fantastic? You know, like, a lot of people that got injured or lost their lives that wouldn't have had to go through anything like that. But it is the reality of the world that we live in. Well, specifically America. Because a lot of countries don't have to deal with stuff like that. Not very often, at least. You know, whenever they deal with something, it's actually like, oh wow, that's a huge shock, because, you know, we haven't had that happen in months or years or something like that. For us, it's like, oh, it happened yesterday. It happened last week. Several times. So it's not even like giving it a shock anymore, you know. It's like, you know, you open up your web browser, you know, whatever, and you just start seeing news stories. And it's how it is. So everybody wants to point to certain causes, you know, like guns, Trump, mental health, video games, you know, whatever have you. You know, everybody's got like their scapegoat with that. It's true, man. It's just, the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of factors involved, and I guess with the way our country is, it has this unique amalgamation of everything that is the reason why we have the biggest mass shooter problem in the world. Now, that's not to say that there aren't other countries that are very violent to be in, particularly war-torn countries in civil war and whatnot. I guess they're classified a little bit differently because, you know, if it's like a war scenario, it's not really considered a mass shooting, you know, because it's usually like enemy combatants and whatnot. So that's a little bit different, I suppose. But, yeah, we've got a problem, for sure. And our Congress does nothing about it. You know, they really do nothing about it. You know, there's always a little bit of bicker back and forth between them. You know, and I know the House has tried to, they passed 2 bills, but Mitch McConnell won't even put them up to a vote. I don't know why he's so afraid, because it's a Republican-controlled Congress, so they're probably going to vote against him anyways, but he won't even put him up to a vote, which is a huge problem with the Senate. The Senate is the most powerful body of government. They have a lot of things that they can do on their whim that every other branch of government can't do. You know, they, you know, like the House, for example, they can't stonewall things in that fashion like the Senate can. And that's kind of particularly dangerous when you consider that the Senate's a 6-year term. So changes in the Senate are a lot more difficult to accomplish, but I digress. It's just a mess, man. It really is. It's, you feel bad about it, but you can't feel too bad about it, because, you know, you got to keep your sanity, right? And since they're not going to change anything, they're not going to do anything. You know, we've seen this song and dance before. You know, after Sandy Hook, after the Orlando Pulse, after the Mandalay Bay shootings, nothing was going to change. What's it going to take? You know, that Mandalay Bay one was particularly crazy. I mean, that was like 600 people that got shot. You know, like, what was it, 59 killed or something like that? Insane. And nothing changed from that. So, go figure, you know. Well, I think they did do something about bump stocks, but I mean, that's just an accessory to the gun. And as a lot of people point out, oh, you don't even need a bump stock, you just need a rubber band, you know. Or some crap like that, you know. Which, I mean, if you're firing your gun that fast with a rubber band, it's probably going to snap, I'm sure. Unless it's a really good rubber band, I suppose. But anyways, Yeah, it's just a mess. It really is. You know, I mean, I just feel for the people that have to deal with this tragedy in some way, you know. I actually heard from a friend that they apparently almost had a shooting situation at their nearby Walmart, which it's crazy, you know. Actually, a Walmart that I went to had like a person point a gun at a customer 3 months ago. Man, it's just getting real out there, man. It's just getting real. So, I mean, just do the best to protect yourselves, protect the ones that you love. You know, try not to put them in harm's way if possible, because, you know, you can't rely on anybody else, clearly. You know, you never know if your neighbor is going to be the next shooter, or maybe someone in your own family. You know, like apparently the Dayton shooter, one of the victims of his was his sister. So clearly there was some motivation there. Perhaps if they didn't have whatever animosity that they had between each other, maybe it would have never happened. But I mean, it's not her fault, because nobody should ever be at that level. So, I mean, like I said, it's a combination of things. I think it's both a gun problem and a mental health problem. Clearly, because, well, it's a gun problem because that's what kind of utilities are used to carry out these shootings. You don't carry out shootings with other types of things besides guns. So, definitely needs to be taken and looked at. And in mental health, you know, the fact of the matter is some people are not right in the head. They shouldn't be owning things like guns that could be used for deadly purposes. You know, they need to be definitely controlled on that regard. But there's a lot of people that don't get diagnosed because they don't have the money or the facilities needed for that. So it's a dangerous slope, you know. I mean, definitely a very comprehensive thing is going to need to be done. One or two little bills isn't going to fix the problem, you know. But yeah, it's just crazy, you know. It really is. So it's just my thoughts on it, you know. Let me know what you guys think. Down Phoenix out.